it can be a lot, like really heavy to have something to rely on you so much, right? It's like...
Welcome to The Woofy Show, the ultimate dog lover's digest. Meet your hosts, Brian and Magda, two dog lovers ready to help you be the best dog parent, unravel the mysteries of canine behavior, and keep you updated on the latest trends in the dog world. This podcast has something for everyone. Get ready for heartwarming stories, expert advice, and a lot of laughs.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Woofy Show. On today's episode, we'll be talking about dogs and the impact they have on mental health.
Hi guys. So what we're gonna talk about today is the positive and the negative impacts of dogs on mental health. We're gonna have a brief discussion around it. To go into our first point of the positive impact, it's that dogs provide companionship and reduction of loneliness.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. I mean, it's hard to be lonely when you constantly have a dog or around you at all times. Well, not all times, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what your takes are on how it's helped us without or having a dog the last year and a half. Like, what are some things that you have found have impacted you personally when it comes to the loneliness?
Well, I don't leave the house, so I would rather stay at home with my dog than do anything else, to be honest. Sometimes I do think I need friends, but then I look at her face and I'm like, I probably don't.
Well, yeah, and it goes back to the companionship thing. You always have a friend around, so that's a major thing that kind of is a huge positive, is you always have someone around there to help you when you're feeling sad or down or even just happy. And it's things that you never really want to do something without them. So it even changes the way you do activities. And again, that's the companionship. You always want to take your best friend with you. Do you agree?
Well, yeah, like now, we go for hikes and stuff and we always take her with us, which is a lot more fun.
Well, but then the other problem, well, not problem, but yeah, it's always about the finding dog-friendly things is a big thing. And I know it's like, as we mentioned, you always want to take them with you, but sometimes you can't. So it's...
Yeah, that's annoying. Yeah. I feel like rules should change everywhere. You should be able to take your dog places if they're sane, they can behave properly. I don't know. It's like that meme, if my dog's not allowed to come, I'm not going or something.
Oh, yeah. I think I've seen that. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
My dog can't come.
If my dog's not invited, then yeah.
I'm not coming.
Yeah. So no, that's a pretty massive point actually about, which is why we started with that one for, the impact with dogs. I just want to read a quick kind of statistic about that. So the national poll on healthy aging found that those that are between the age of 50 and 80 years old, 88% of them say that their pets help them enjoy life. Help them enjoy life a lot better. And 86% of them say their pets make them feel loved, which directly combats feelings of loneliness. So it's a huge thing, especially in the elderly, that it helps them feel like they always have someone around. Because we don't know personally, but your grandparents and stuff, they always want you to go visit them and things like that, and parents. So I think having that dog around for them definitely kind of helps that. Yeah?
Yeah. So the next impact is encouragement of physical activity through walks and playtime.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Dogs involve a lot of work and a lot of energy. So, well, Magda, to be honest, you're the one who walks Maple most of the time. So what kind of positive impacts is taking her out for walks every day been for you?
We just go on our, mental health kind of walk every day, which is not always great because, we live in Alberta, so sometimes rain or shine, well, not really rain, but snow and frost. I take her out every single day just because I feel like she needs it.
Well, yes.
And it kind of just gets me out of the house. Mm-hmm. I think that definitely has a positive impact.
Well, yeah, and as well, like there's people that are already active and they go for hikes, or maybe they're avid gym goers, but you don't go to the gym every day. So something even, for example of that is, we both go to the gym, but we go maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week, something like that, where, having to take your dog out for walks or playing with them, that's every day. Unless it's like a bad storm or something like that, but that's it. And it's not just walking, it's running around with them, with playing, it's training with them, that kind of
which
stuff.
is the negative thing of how much time that takes.
It's true. Well, and so we've just started agility with Maple, and like a month or so ago, and it's exhausting. We might we walk her every day. We go to the gym.
Somebody decided to have lessons at 9 a.m. on Saturday.
But it's tiring.
Up at 9 a.m. on Saturday.
It's not even that. It's all the running. Like, you don't realize a lot of the dog sports or other activities. It all depends on what you do with the dog, but all the running you have to do and keeping up with them, because dogs are fast. Dogs are faster than us for the most part. So it is a lot of work and exercise, but it's good for you. So.
Yeah, and sometimes we decide to go for a hike just because of Maple. She's our excuse to go out.
Well, it's true. It's like, we haven't been to the mountains in a while, so let's take her out there. And I guess the downside of that is maybe we won't be able to go on a hike that's as intense, because we have to do kind of dog friendly ones, or ones where.
Let's be honest, we're not used to intense hiking anymore.
That's true. So that's the other excuse is, we can't do the hard one because we have a dog and that's too hard for her. So I guess there's the other positive impact.
Such a dog dad. Like, I'm just going to use my child as an excuse for not doing something.
I think people do that with their kids. I don't know.
All the time.
So a quick little statistic as well about exercising with your dog. So we have the study that was in the Journal of Physical Activity and Health found that dog owners are 34% more likely to meet the recommended 150 minutes of exercise per week compared to the non-owners, which, of course, as we mentioned, can contribute to the mental health. Do you think you do 150 hours a week?
150 hours?
Sorry, minutes. 150 minutes. If I said hours, I meant minutes.
Hours, I can do that. No, is that even enough hours in a week?
Yes. 150. Actually, no, I don't think so. 150 minutes a week. Well, yeah.
150. So what's that? Like an hour, 2 hours?
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours of exercising?
Yeah. With the dog a week.
Usually my normal walk with Maple is like an hour walk.
Yeah.
Standard.
Most people do 30 minutes. So, even I had to do the math in my head every day. Even 5 days a week for 30 minutes will give you that. And I think most of you probably do that are listening to this.
Admittedly, obviously, sometimes you can't be bothered going for a walk with your dog, especially when it's like a snowstorm or something outside. But you still end up doing something.
Yes, of course.
So, whether it's playing tug or, throwing a ball a little bit or, spreading treats around the house. Like, you still end up doing something.
You're getting off the couch. Regardless.
I mean, she will not let me stay on a couch for more than 2 hours because she'll be like, "Hey, get off your butt, Mom. I need your attention."
Yeah. So that's a great point. And I mean, I guess unless you have a toy dog, I know toy dogs don't involve as much exercise, but you're still, doing some stuff with it. And I know kind of this is a bit more of a situational depending on what type of dog you have and where you live, but most people do something.
Well, if you think about it, people that get toy dogs, they probably have that type of lifestyle where they're not particularly active because they can't take their dogs.
I think that's why that statistic was 34%. So it's not like 100% of people walk 150 minutes a week.
Because most people actually, well, not most, but a large amount of people has toy dogs nowadays, right? Because of the apartments and houses getting smaller and things like that. So I'm actually wondering what is the percentage of the dog group and household.
Maybe we'll try to figure that out if we talk about the dog groups, see if there is a number. There should be. I don't know how accurate it is, but we don't know how accurate any numbers are, to be honest. So.
Yeah.
But so that's another great positive impact is the exercising, as we all know. So. And
to be honest, so you said that the playtime thing encourages playtime, and playing with my dog genuinely makes me happy. I just love seeing her trotting away and looking for her treats and wagging her tail. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so adorable.
It might not be physical exercise, but it's mental too. Like you said, hiding the treats. You have to now consciously think of where can you hide them, make it harder for the next time. And just seeing how happy they are when they tug that rope, when they retrieve that ball, when they find that treat.
Or doing even tricks with her, teaching her something new. It gives you that sense of pride.
Yeah.
a positive impact on your mental health.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, those are all great points. So we'll move on to the next one for what other positive impacts dogs have on your mental health. So if you want to.
The next positive impact of dogs on your mental health is the stress relief and lower cortisol levels from petting your dog.
Yeah.
Dogs in general.
I guess so. Well, yeah, and I mean, I guess if you don't know that cortisol is one of the things that
it's
contributes
a hormone,
to
right?
stress. Yeah. So obviously, the higher they are, the more stressed you are, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
it lowers it.
Yeah.
Occasionally. I guess it can also heighten it too.
And, which maybe we'll get to in the negative things. But it's true. Like if you're having a bad day or you're really sad and your dog just comes and cuddles up with you, like it's hard to be in that moment angry or upset or sad because your dog is wagging its tail. It's maybe trying to lick your face or whatever. And it just makes you feel good and you smile or you have a little laugh. And again, it doesn't last forever. It's not like a dog can reduce your stress levels completely kind of thing. But in the moment, it helps kind of lift you up depending on your mood. So.
Yeah. I mean, you always say like, oh, if you're stressed, go and pet Maple. And I'm like, okay.
Or if we know like between the two of us, if say like maybe you're feeling down or I'm feeling down and you're just kind of like lying around, I send Maple to you. Like, hey, go find mom. Go get her. Ready? Like, and we play a game and she'll be all excited and come and jump on you. And, even in the morning when you don't want to get up. I mean, that helps. Not that you're stressed. Well, maybe you're stressed to get up, but, anything from just having your dog in your presence usually, makes you in a better mood and ultimately.
To be honest, when I used to go to your office to work, obviously as every single dog parent out there, you have your phone packed with pictures of your dog. Yes. So I would just go on my phone and literally look at the pictures of her, and that would make me feel better. Not lying. So yeah, we'll just. I guess it's true. I guess they do reduce your stress.
Yeah. Well, and obviously, like you say, with petting them, it's just kind of a calming motion. If your dog is sitting beside you while you're watching TV and you're just, Maple, she's not one to be cuddly and be pet too much. Occasionally, maybe a minute.
Yeah,
and then
but
she'll
it's kind of like a challenge.
Yeah, but it's nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it does. And it's like, oh my God, she's
Come
staying.
here, give me your face. I want to squeeze it.
So we have another quick kind of statistic just on that note. So this one, we have a study that was published in the Psychosomatic Medicine. I guess it's a magazine or journal or something like that. But found that interacting...
It's a legit thing.
Yeah, found that...
It must be.
Okay. Let me get to the point. So they found that interacting with a dog can lead to a 23% decrease in the cortisol levels. So we were talking about how much stress can be reduced.
23%.
So it's 23%, which is quite big. And then also, this is an interesting one, and a 10% decrease in heart rate, which reduces your stress and anxiety. And we all know, the faster your heart rate is, usually that's not good. Like when you're really anxious or stressed, your heart's beating like crazy. So just the fact of, and I mean, 10% is not a lot, but just for the dog being around you, literally a dog being around you.
Yeah, there's articles on all these heart charities actually that talk about impact of dogs on your heart. Like you actually less likely to get a heart attack.
Although I think the situation of going through a loss might make it worse, but that will be another topic where we talk about that. But it's, I guess, like anything.
It's like, and going through grief and stuff, but that's just part of life. I guess it makes you a stronger person. But in general sense, having dogs actually means that you are less likely to die of a heart attack.
Yeah. I think I've seen that somewhere. So.
And other diseases, have you seen that woman on Instagram that lived 105 years?
And The Secret?
To a long life was the fact that she owned dogs instead of kids.
There's a lot of research about just dogs in general helping you live longer, but that's more of a not mental thing. Well, I guess it can be a mental health thing. I'm sure we'll dive deeper into that topic in a future episode.
No, our parents always say oh, when you guys are going to have kids and who's going to take care of you when you're old and all this. I'm like, well, my dogs. When I'm old, they're going to help me live.
Well, yeah, they'll help you be happy.
Stressful life because they're just so simple.
Like the stat we just had, the less feeling of loneliness. right there, the first point we had of just what it's having a dog.
Yeah.
So it's huge. Yeah, there's so many different kind of points just for that specific point, I guess, about it. But
but I just feel like dogs make you sometimes realize that life is a lot simpler than you make it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like that's what having a dog taught me personally, and what ultimately reduces your stress, because you just give them a stick or something and they're just so happy about it, and it gives you this warm feeling like, oh my god, I don't even need to buy this dog any toys. I don't need to do anything. I just have to be there, give it a stick, give it attention and love, and it's all good.
I think it's the point we'll talk about later on, is the loving unconditionally, which we'll get to. But I guess, that's kind of summarizing that point. So we'll move on to, we got a couple more on the positive aspects. So if you want to let them know what the next point for positive impacts that dogs have.
Positive impact is that dogs have an ability to sense emotion and provide comfort during difficult times.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that kind of also probably merges with the last point we had, how I was mentioning if you're feeling sad or down or something like that.
But you have read a book recently.
Yeah, I haven't finished it yet, so we don't want to talk about it too much.
And there was actually some points in there that were talking about how dogs can sense, they can smell the stress on you or smell anxiety.
Yeah, I think, that's true.
Sense how you're feeling.
Yes. And that has good and bad kind of annotation. So if you the example they used was, if you come home from the office and you had a really bad day and you are stressed like crazy, it rubs off on your dog. And so they know it does. So, maybe they'll end up being stressed. So it has some positives and negatives to that. But I guess.
So just as always, people are the problem.
Yeah.
Fault. It's your own fault for being stressed. Don't bring stress home, because it will.
Yeah, and that's the point on how they can. And so I guess for more getting into the negative side of it, but the positive is they can feel your emotions. So and when you're. And you can tell in the tone of your voice, when you're happy and excited, your dog will just get up and start wagging its tail like, what's going on? Why are we so happy? And it's just like, well, what are you doing? You're not even talking to your dog. You're just in a good mood, or, say you're just really happy and you're singing and dancing around in the living room. Your dog is right there with you thinking it's playtime. And so it's crazy that they can tell. And if you look sad or lazy or down, so are they. They're just sleeping next to you. They're just kind of lazing around with you. They're not,
That's what she does. I would cry and I would expect her to be a bit more of an emotional animal, but she just doesn't care really, which is nice.
But they're mirroring your mood though. So they do have that kind of aspect to bring your mood. But if you're not allowing them to kind of make you feel better, then they're going to just be kind of sad with you. And that is one of the connections, between humans and dogs, is that they will feel what you feel, which is
sad. It makes you feel sad. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to make this dog depressed and anxious.
Yeah.
I have to get better for my dog.
So I guess this one will kind of hover between the positive impact and the negative impact of the dog, I guess, more than our mental health. But I guess so. If you say you're sad, then the dog's sad, then you're even sadder. That doesn't work. But if you're happy, then you can see the dog's happy, then that makes you happier. So
it makes you want to be happy for your dog. So that's the positive impact. It gives you a purpose to be happy.
Yeah. So there we go. We'll use that one as the key takeaway. So
leads straight to the next point, actually. So dogs can give one a sense of purpose and routine. So if we didn't have a dog, I don't think I would ever wake up in the morning. So she is my purpose and my routine.
That's so true. I mean, I guess because we're not she is our alarm in a sense, so
that's her job.
And it changes by about a 45 minute window.
Yeah, she allows me to sleep in sometimes, bless her. She can sense that I'm tired. For instance, last night I didn't sleep.
Yeah.
She woke me up at 8:30. Which is very generous.
Yes.
So she's a good alarm clock for sure.
Yeah, and it is that routine of knowing that, okay, you got to get up, you got to feed your dog, but then it's Kate, I got to take her for a walk. And it's not feed, walk, our lives aren't that structured, but we've talked to people, they are up at, you remember that one dog, we were dog sitting? The dog was up at 6 a.m. to feed, and then they went out for a walk right away. That was hard. That was really hard for us to do.
Your dog to a strict routine.
Yeah, but it depends. If somebody's working their job and that's just they're up at 6, 7 a.m. every day, they have to. That's just the way their life is. So your routine becomes a dog's routine. If you got to go to work at 9, you can't be like, sorry, boss, I'm sleeping in because I don't want to.
I guess it depends on your personal lifestyle and stuff. So I get that. But, and having a routine, it makes your dog maybe less stressed, but it can also make them more stressed because if you go away from that routine for one day, your dog will be stressed out. It's like, why isn't not these things happening that always happen?
Yeah. So, and I guess to backtrack a little bit, we are talking about humans' mental health. And we know, yes.
Sorry.
That's okay. I mean, it has everything to do with it. And again, we'll probably talk about it.
It can impact your mental health.
I guess so.
Because if your dog is stressed out, since you don't follow a specific routine with them, it can have a mental health effect.
I'm going to give you a perfect example about that. So when we went out for food a couple nights ago, and it was like, we were checking the time and it's like, oh my goodness, this is around the time we feed Maple. So come on, we got to eat fast so we can go home.
You were so stressed out. And
so again, we're not trying to, this was supposed to be a positive impact, but I guess all things have positive and negative.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
He was literally worried because we were out eating at Nando's or something, and you were just checking the time constantly, worried sick that this dog is at home in a crate, perfectly safe. They just won't eat on time.
Yeah. So, but
won't die.
So, I mean, that's a negative. Obviously, the positives are just so many things if you don't have structure in your life, or it does kind of make you stick to a routine to a certain degree. You know what I mean? So you're not being irresponsible. And for example, we didn't go out for 10 hours that night kind of thing. So it does keep you, structured in a way, which for some people, they need that. I mean, I need that, to be honest, sometimes. For people that already have structure and routine, they just bring their dog's kind of life into that. So I think that helps.
Should talk a little bit maybe about this sense of purpose that it gives you, because I think that's more positive.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, for instance, people that don't have purpose in their lives obviously are more depressed because they don't know what to do with themselves. So having a dog can bring that sense of oh, okay, now I have something to take care of.
Yeah, and just quickly on that too, and it's not just, so it's a sense of purpose, but then you'll start to find activities you like to do with your dog as well. So that also gives you purpose of hey, for example, we start doing sports with our dog. So now it's this is part of my identity now is
humans are naturally built to nurture something.
Yes.
Which is why people have kids and things. So if you don't have that thing that you want to take care of, sometimes that can lead to depression or lack of sense of purpose. And it's what's the point getting up?
Yes.
Especially single people, I believe. A lot of single people do get a cat or a dog or something like that because it gives them that sense of okay, I have something or someone in my life now.
That's relying on you.
Yeah, that's relying on you. And, they fully depend on you. And it's just that nice feeling. So yeah, that's the positive impact.
Yeah, that's a huge one. And then again, with the single person or someone that lives by themselves, it leads back to the loneliness factor as well.
Even old people, right? The older you get, all your friends and family unfortunately dies, and then you start feeling more and more lonely. You are retired, so you don't have that sense of purpose in your work. So then you start seeking it elsewhere.
You're a dog companion.
Because you're old, you can't do, crazy activities. You have less hobbies and things like that. So that's why a lot of old people get a dog or a cat or whatever, because it gives them that sense of purpose and, it keeps you ticking.
Yep. No, that's a great point. And that's a great way, I think, to end that one. So we will move on to the next positive impact that they can have.
So this is a funny one, actually. So dogs can act as a social catalyst, helping owners connect with other people.
So that's huge. I mean, depending on what you do with your dog, but even, okay, we're going to go right down to the basic level of things. If you do no class with your dog, but you take them for a walk, how many times do you stop and talk to someone else who is out taking their dog for a walk? Like it's crazy. And it's not like, it's just the dogs kind of will go towards each other and then it starts the conversation with the humans.
To talk to people. Like literally, it's, yeah, I'm going to say forced because honestly, before we had a dog, you don't just like go out around the neighborhood and do laps around and start talking randomly. That would be weird. Yeah. But when you get a dog, you start doing that. You start taking them out and, you know, meeting people that you've never met before and meeting their dogs. Mostly you will remember the dog rather than the person. You know, no one knows my name. Yeah. They know Maple. Like we literally walk out in the neighborhood and everyone's like, "Hi, Maple."
And I'll take her for walks occasionally and everyone knows who Maple is. And I'm like, "Who are you? How do you know my dog?" And it's like, "Oh, I saw your wife out walking her." You know, we always see them. But that's a huge thing. And so that, and again, that's just human bonding and all of that. It doesn't mean they're going to become your best friends or anything like that.
No,
but
we just talk about dogs all the time. It's like, oh yeah, you know, my dog got spayed the other day. And like, we start talking about the most random things.
But you learn a lot too of like, oh, have you checked out this dog park or this training center or these things? Or where did you go to do that? Or what was your experience doing that? And it's conversations you wouldn't normally have.
Well, yeah, I mean, those are the best conversations about dogs. That's the only conversations I will have nowadays.
Really? Is that why we started this podcast?
Yeah, probably.
And then, so that's like the basic level. And then as you kind of, depending on what you do with your dog and it's with the social aspect. So if you start doing training classes or sports or activities with your dog, you meet people. There's like meetup groups for people that hike with their dogs, depending on if you do sports or whatever. So like we were mentioning, we do dock diving and fly ball. And so, you know, each weekend we go to...
You just kind of end up being in that circle. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be best buds or whatever, but it does act as a catalyst to social interaction because otherwise you wouldn't talk to them.
Yeah, and especially this, you know, this day and age, 2024, it's everyone is home a lot more, you know, with work from home and being more normal. So this helps kind of... Because like you mentioned, we all need that. We're all social beings. We need to get out there and speak to people and dogs, but it helps, and again, it's, as we mentioned, you're not gonna get along with everybody, but it gives you that kind of sense of community, especially when you have similar interests. So, you know, for example,
and everyone loves talking about the dogs.
Yes.
They could talk about them for ages, like kids, like, you know, but I would rather see the pictures of your dog than your kid. Like, oh yeah, show me.
Yeah. So that's a huge one. I think that one's really big, and you know, no matter what kind of dog you have, you're always kind of directed to communities, even just online, like Facebook groups of similar dog breeds or dog owners in your local area, because you're learning from them. You're learning of like, hey, you know, I went to this training facility or this groomer or something like that. So, yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, it is.
Anything else you want to add on the socialization aspect of us humans on our mental health that dogs do, or?
I think we kind of covered it pretty nicely there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we got one more point on the positive.
Yeah. So the last point on the positive impact of dogs on mental health is that dogs offer unconditional love, combating feelings of self-doubt and worthlessness. Yeah, that one basically meaning that dogs are just these great beings that just love. They don't judge, although it is debatable.
You might think,
but they basically make you doubt yourself less and make you feel like you actually matter. And that's because they depend on you fully for everything.
It's true. And it's
crazy.
It doesn't matter whether you had a bad day or not. If you go out, the second you come home, they're excited to see you. Like you said, it's unconditional. As long as you treat them well, which we hope by listening to this podcast, you do, they're always happy to see you. It doesn't matter. And
but even if you have a bad day and you kind of just shut them out for a little bit, they still love you. And it's like, oh my God, I've been such a terrible person to you and ignoring you all day and you still love me. Like, wow. It's not like that with humans.
No, not at all.
A silent treatment, a human being, and they give you silent treatment back, and then there's this awkward thing where arguments can arise, but dogs can't talk. They just give you love.
Yeah. And then on the self-doubt, it's true. Like when you're feeling down, it's the same thing of like, when you go back out for walks, or when you're just feeling sad, or you're just feeling like, oh, I just don't want to get up today, or I don't want to do anything, but you got to take your dog out for a walk. You always feel better, unless it's like raining like crazy and like that. So just that like feeling like, I don't really want to do any work. I don't want to do anything. But you're like, I'll go take the dog for a walk.
But our dog has expensive lifestyle. You can't doubt yourself because you got to go, get up, get to work. You got to work to support her lifestyle. But
the point of that is you'll go out for a walk with the dog, and that's just all you needed. You needed that fresh air. You needed that kind of that thing. And again, your dog, as you were mentioning earlier, your dog relies on you. So you have a responsibility. You might feel worthless and useless, but you're not, because you're the one feeding the dog, you're the one walking the dog, you're the one teaching the dog, training, all of these things. So, even if you're having a bad day, you still have responsibilities.
You might be worthless, to people or whatever, but to your dog, you're like the best person.
Yeah.
You're like the rock, and they will just love you no matter what.
And that's huge. And that's huge with just making you feel
you always
good.
Matter to that, that dog.
How can that not make you smile? Just that sentence right there, like, or sad. No,
you
not
matter,
sad.
okay?
Yes.
Everyone matters because you have a dog in your life.
Those people that say you don't, listen to your dog instead. They will tell you matter.
I mean, they won't tell you. They can't speak, but the eyes will tell. They will stare at you whilst you're eating a sandwich and be like, "Yeah, I matter." Eyes are telling me.
Yeah, so that's just kind of a few points that we went through about the positive impact. Now, of course, there are negative impacts on your mental health to owning a dog. And especially if you're someone who doesn't have one yet and you're thinking about getting one, these are all very important to understand, because you might not realize this until it's too late and you get them. So we're going to move on to the negative points now. So if you want to let them know one of the negative impacts that dogs will have on your mental health.
Well, obviously one of the negative, we kind of touched upon it a little bit, but one of the negative impacts is just how much responsibility it is to have a pet in your life, to own a dog or a pet or whatever, right? It can be a lot, like really heavy to have something to rely on you so much, right? It's like, as much as it makes you feel good, it can also make you feel anxious, and like it's just getting too much, right? You have to think about, right, now I can't go out until this and this time because I have a dog at home, and I can't go on holidays to this and that place because of the dog. Maybe they're not good with flying. Maybe, that could also give you anxiety, flying with your dog. I mean, we don't know about that, but I can only imagine, putting your dog down somewhere with baggage or whatever. Like
and it's a huge thing, and it's like you said with the responsibility, like even if you're not in the mood, it doesn't matter, you still have to, and it could become overwhelming. So it can become overwhelming that you're like, you just had a long day of work, but it doesn't matter. Your dog has been, depending on what you're doing.
I have been away for about a month, and I left Maple with you the whole time. So, being a single parent, I guess that was quite a lot for you.
Yeah, and it gets hard sometimes because you're the one who's getting up every day. You're the one who has to make sure they get fed. You're the one who has to make sure.
Especially when they're puppies.
Yes. And it doesn't matter I guess this might have to do with kids. We don't know from any personal experience, but if you're sick or not well, like you can't just,
be like,
hide in the room all day. If you're on your own. I guess
if your dog is a little bit older, it can understand, and and if it's not a high energy dog, then possibly you don't have to worry about it so much, which is why it's so important to recognize what kind of dog best fits your lifestyle. But I guess it was overwhelming for you because you would call me and be like, oh my God, I didn't get anything done today.
Yeah,
because Maple was just like, vomiting all morning, and then I had to clean it up and this and that. And it's just like, it gets a lot for
and it's
one
the
person,
thing too,
especially.
It's like, if you want to, depending on, like we were talking about your lifestyle, if you're someone who's gone 10 hours a day, I mean, I don't care what type of dog it is. I don't think dog ownership is for you. It's like, I saw a post about somebody that was specific. They said they got a new job and they're going to be gone for 10 hours. What's the best thing? And a lot of people were commenting being like, that's not fair to the dog because you're gone to work for 10 hours, plus you sleep for, say, 8 hours. So that leaves, 6 hours you would spend with the dog a day, say 5 days a week.
You wouldn't spend all that time with your dog anyway because you have other responsibilities like making food for yourself, cleaning up the house, this and that, doing things, maybe relaxing, unwinding after the work
So it's not for everyone, and I think people really, really need to understand the responsibility that it is owning a dog or having a dog. And you do have to think, is this right? Even though there's like daycares and all of that, and I mean it helps, but if you get a dog, you can't be sending them off to daycare in the first week.
Because you're not going to bond with that dog. Like, why did you get a dog in the first place?
Exactly. So that's a huge one. I think that one's probably point number one, and I think a lot of people probably do go through that, but it's something you have to think about is how much responsibility in your life, anywhere from, 8 to 15, 16 years, depending on what type of dog you get and the type of life they live, and you can't stop.
I mean,
you can't send them off to boarding school or they're not at school all day eventually, you know what I mean? Like they are there and they rely on you every single day.
Yeah, but I also remember one story from when we went to puppy classes, and this guy, basically, he asked a very valid question. It was a puppy class, obviously, so as you have puppies, you have to kennel them a lot. So this guy was saying, I go to work from 9 till 5 or whatever. What am I meant to do with my dog? And obviously the trainer said, you're going to have to kennel them, put them in a crate all day. And then he was like, okay, so I'm meant to put them in a crate all day. And then I come back home, feed them. And then when we go to bed, what do I do with it? And they were like, well, you're going to have to kennel it.
Yeah, especially as a puppy.
Put it in a crate. Yeah. So I think that was a major reality shock for this guy, because he just kind of looked at the trainer like really?
Especially as a puppy. I know as a dog gets older, they don't have to be, depending on your dog, they don't have to be crated if they're well trained. But those first few months, it's huge. You cannot let a puppy
and you have to realize that, because it can have a massive effect on your mental health and the dog's mental health.
Which could set that up to failure, as in it just makes the relationship between you and your dog so much worse, as time progresses. So it's something
because you're going to go to work, you're going to be stressing over oh my gosh, I've got this puppy at home that's been kennelled all day, and I would assume if you're a normal human being, that would cause some type of anxiety in you. Because, as puppies as well, they're going to probably pee and poo inside of the crate if they're there all day because they can't hold it for this long. So it's got just
it's
the
a thing of worrying.
Effect.
Exactly. Why would you want to worry? So it's something you have to think about, and whether it's taking time off work, using some of your holiday or vacation time, or if you're living with somebody, alternate, potentially shifts or something like that, just so someone's around a little bit more often, obviously, or if you have kids and it's in the summer and they're home, things like that, it could help. So that's a huge thing, and that's probably the most important thing, and I think it's why a lot of people, unfortunately, return dogs or put them in shelters, is because they don't realize how much work's actually involved. They think it's, puppies are cute, blah, 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 kids love it, and then...
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people don't put as much effort and time as, for instance, we have into a dog, but, each to their own.
So, that's a huge point, but...
I can think of another thing, how, the pet ownership and realizing the responsibilities can have an impact. So for instance, if something happens to Maple, I'll literally go like spiraling out of my bloody mind.
Yes.
And it's bad. I'm learning to control it a lot more, but that's one of the negative impacts as well, is that you end up like stressing and worrying because something happened to your dog that would have happened anyway. It's not necessarily your fault.
Yeah.
For instance, she had allergic reaction.
Yes.
And I literally broke down crying.
Like, swelled up.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is my fault. You end up blaming yourself. Like, you could have done this, or could have done that.
And you don't know what happened or what's wrong. I guess the difference, I assume, with kids, because obviously we are kids once, unless they're babies, but if you hurt yourself, you can speak, you can communicate, you can say, hey, this hurts. But with a dog, you
and she
don't
started
know.
swelling up, and I was just so panicky, like, oh my God, we have to go to emergency right away because I don't know what's happening. Her whole face is swelling up. And, you know, you have to realize that these things will happen when you own a dog, and that stress, like literally, my whole body shuts down.
Yep. I remember that. I do remember that day. And it's just something you have to be prepared for.
I would just cry and like have a panic attack at the back of the car holding her whilst we wait for the appointment. And it's not good for you.
No, it's definitely not. So you're right. Specifically on the mental health, which is what we were talking about. That
my
summarizes
mental health,
it.
that's not very good.
That summarizes it right there. So that's a perfect way to end that point. And we got a couple more negative aspects on your mental health that owning a dog can have.
So another negative aspects is obviously the financial aspect of owning a dog.
Which is huge. And I mean, we didn't know. And again, it depends on the type of lifestyle you want to give your dog. Obviously, we are probably a little bit more on the higher end just because that's what we want for our dog. But it is huge. Like food. Yeah. Not even food. I mean, you can budget for food, but then it's like treats. And then the big one is vet bills, which you cannot prepare for.
I know. I'm so glad we have insurance because without it, like we would have had to take out loans and mortgages.
And so on the topic of that, and so funny that you said that. So a time we were at the vet, the emergency vet, that same time with her allergic reaction, I was talking to this lady and her dog was getting all these tests done because he had a lot of problems, and she kind of made like a joke, but you can tell in like the way her voice was, she's like, I'm gonna have to take out another mortgage to pay for this bill. And I know it was like funny, but she was like, you can tell in people's voice and they're anxious or stressed, and it's like,
it can cause a major anxiety because, you know, especially now, people don't have money for anything. Bills of everything, prices of everything are going up, and adding dog on top of that stress, that's a major thing that can impact your mental health. It's like, oh my God, how am I going to feed my dog?
Yeah. And you never want to be at the point of being like, am I feeding myself or am I feeding my dog? Because that's a situation you just don't want to be in. But it's huge, and that's the thing is people constantly worry or say, you know, you also got to think, and again, I imagine having kids or something like that and mortgages and all of that, but it's like, what is the first to go? And I think, again, this is when people get too overwhelmed with the financial responsibilities of dogs. And it's the same thing. It's like, I can't keep affording this. And this is on a quick topic too of like, you know, cool, you can buy the cheapest food, but that doesn't mean that's not always a good thing. We'll talk about nutrition in the future, but that's a thing. It's like, cool, you can find the budget options for everything, but it's like you as a human, you wouldn't always pick the budget options for yourself. You're not going to get the, you know, food that's expired or about to go bad all the time. And so it's something you also have to think about. If you can only afford the bare minimum and the cheapest things, and then you know,
don't get a dog. It's not fair.
And it will just be too stressful. It'll be way too stressful for you, and in the long run. And that's just, you don't want that. Like, you don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
So. I think that's most of it. I mean, that one's pretty self-explanatory, the financial one. It's like, can you afford all the things?
Can you afford a dog?
Can you afford a dog? It's that simple.
But we didn't realize though when like the breeders sent us the whole list and like prices of how much everything was. That's when it really hit me. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, because normally like when you get a dog, the breeder will send you like a little list of recommended items of what you should get before you get the puppy. And she was really good. She sent us a whole list and like even links to these things. And we were just going through it and we were like, oh my God.
But it's so many things. It's
That's
like
crazy.
you look at
like crates cost like $300.
So that was what I was about to say. Crates. It's like, cool. You got a crate for your puppy, which then will get bigger, which then will get bigger. So I think we have 4. We have 4 crates. I mean, because we want another dog, so we're keeping them.
You could get a divider and stuff. So there are, I guess, like budget ways of doing it.
Get
but
a big one.
Dividers are not always the
You'll
greatest.
always need a small one for a puppy first, and then the next size up, you can get the biggest and have a divider once they're a bit more potty trained or house trained or whatever.
You know, leashes and collars and different colors and, you know, the vaccinations and
it's just so many things, and obviously. I'm sure you'll get educated if you either get it from a breeder or a rescue or something like that. I'm pretty sure they educate you, but
I'm not sure about that.
I mean, we don't know about rescues because we don't have any personal experience with it, but it's just something to keep in mind, pretty much. And it's not the point of it is not can you afford it. It's like even if you think you can, will it cause extra stress and anxiety in your life? Because if it will, then that's bad for your mental health, which obviously will just kind of, spread into every aspect of your life. So you don't want that.
Yeah, it can affect everything, right? So the next point of negative impact is the increased stress for individuals with already challenging living situations. So if you are trying to get a dog in order to fix something in your life, for instance, you have like, a bad marriage or what's another challenging situation? You are struggling financially.
Or you're,
you're in between houses, for instance.
Or your kids are becoming teenagers and they hate you because that's just what all teenagers do. So you want to get them a dog
you're at uni and you kind of like a party animal and, it's kind of like a challenging situation, I guess.
But it's not even that. It's like if I
know this person that we dog sit a Maltese for a lady that's she's still at uni, and I'm like, how are you doing this?
And again, this goes into the type of dog you get as well. I know she has her family that helps. Obviously, we help with doing daycare, but it's not even that. It's also like, where do you live? Do you live in a giant skyrise apartment and you have a dog that's constantly got to go out for walks? That's the challenging living situation. It's not just the financial aspect. It's more of, how hard is it for you to take your dog out every day? Because if they don't have somewhere to go to the bathroom, you got to take them out multiple times a day.
Yeah. And
that could be too stressful for you. You could be like, you got to go out again. You just went out an hour ago. Because dogs don't. They just always want to go outside, to be honest. And so that's the thing. It's like, is that worth the stress? It's like, so that was our introduction we spoke about on the first episode, is we weren't ready because we were always living in small little apartments in city centers downtown, things like that. So,
and I feel like if we did get a dog when we were not ready to get a dog, obviously that would have an impact on everything, not just your mental health, on our relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
On the relationship you have, with other people in your life and your work as well. So it was a good thing to wait.
Yeah. So, and that's the biggest thing. Is it like, are you already do you already have, some mental health problems? Are you already extremely stressed or depressed or down as it is?
Or
don't get a dog to, a dog, as we mentioned, dogs can help it, but you have to, find that balance.
Yeah, but then you're going to end up arguing, like who's taking the dog out first and who's going to feed it in the morning.
So this is why I don't get a dog to hold. I think it's, to keep relationships together or to keep, kids happy or whatever. It's like, especially as a parent, you're the one responsible for the dog, not your kids, not your, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's a huge one. And
but another point about that, like, if you have a challenging situation, so a challenging situation could be that you already have a dog
Yes.
that is challenging.
Yes.
So you're trying to get another dog in order to fix the
That's
problem
true.
or to occupy
That's
that dog.
huge. Because like obviously we only have one dog now, but if your dog already has problems at dog parks or daycare, whatever, with other dogs, throwing
Do
another one
not
into
get
the situation
another dog.
to help build that, you have to start training your dog
I feel like
and
that's
working on
pretty
them.
common sense, but then again, it might
You don't
not
know.
be.
You don't- yeah,
Some
I
people
don't know.
might think another dog will fix your problems. It really will not.
And then now constantly getting angry because your dogs are fighting. And then, like, anger is a terrible thing. You never want to be getting angry and yelling at your dog, but it could happen. And if that's the situation you're in.
It's like you already have a bad situation. Why make it worse?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? So, yeah. So the last point that we have of the negative impacts is that not everyone is comfortable around dogs.
And
I
that
don't want
doesn't-
to know those people.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean like you. Obviously, you want a dog. And again, if someone's, it's not like it's not about strangers, but it's about family members. It's about friends. You know, say you got a dog and everyone comes to your house for the holidays or Christmas or Thanksgiving or wherever you are in the world. All of a sudden, you have a family member that you didn't realize that is anxious around dogs or is allergic to dogs. So now you feel like, oh, well, I can't live my life how I used to. People don't want to come over to my house anymore because, and it's not just dogs, it's dog hair everywhere. And then now that makes you feel anxious or worried of like,
Almost not used to having dog hair sprinkled everywhere. You know, like when my parents came over to our house, I was like, you need to be prepared because it's a lot. Like the house smells like a dog. Like you can't get rid of it. Just like the house would smell like a cat. Like you walk in and first thing you can smell is a cat, right? So yeah, that can have a negative impact because people, you might feel lonely since your family won't visit you anymore.
or you're worried because now all of a sudden it's like, oh, did I clean everything? Did I, does it smell? Like you said, the whole smell is, especially where you live, you don't realize until somebody comes in. And now these are thoughts in your head of like,
yeah, that can induce anxiety. Like even if people are comfortable or like, even if you end up kenneling your dog, whilst people are at your house, it can still have a negative kind of anxiety inducing thing because you're going to constantly worry about, what if my dog just starts barking out of nowhere?
Or what if they, although they're trained, what if they just get too excited and have an accident or accidentally bite somebody?
I always get anxious when someone rings the doorbell.
Yeah.
Because
we're working on that's a training thing.
On it, yeah.
But
it's still
that's for us, yes.
anxiety, right? Like every time someone rings the doorbell, I'm so angry at that person because we literally have a doormat saying wipe your paws, so everyone knows there's dogs in the house.
Yeah, but they don't know that the dog is
like,
gonna
do not
react.
ring the doorbell.
And she doesn't go crazy.
No,
She's not like a terrier or anything like that. But it's
you
still
should,
like now I have to open the door like this. And I think there's funny videos you see where it's like dog owners opening the door and they open it like just like a crack kind of thing. So the dog doesn't run out. But these are just things that now you're just like, oh, this person, or you always see the funny videos about mailmen and stuff like that. And if you're constantly worried,
Witness, they call your house and you're just like, I just want to let my dog out. Just chase him out, Maple.
Yeah, so there are things, and again, you might not care as well. So it doesn't, it all depends on the thing, but it's just something to think about. And it's something that you have to, that you will be thinking about. It's not something to think about. It's something that you do think about having a dog. And is it you think about it in a good way or a bad way of like, oh my goodness, what if this person doesn't like a dog? Or
like if you're single and you go out dating.
Yes.
I think that's a big thing.
That's true. Yeah, I guess
so.
When
you look for a partner, you look for someone that's into dogs. And if they're not, then like...
Well, yeah.
They're not.
You're not going to...
Yeah.
I don't think you'll get rid of the dog. I mean, I hope not.
Yeah, but that's also something that will have an impact on your mental health because you're constantly going to be worried that this person will not accept your dog or maybe your dog will not accept that person. Something to think about.
That's true. So I mean, that's kind of just a few of the negative aspects to owning a dog. Obviously, we went through the positive, which there are more of course. And again, depending on your lifestyle. And that's where it's time for you as an individual is to really think. And again, whether you have dogs already, you might have dogs and all of these things resonate you. So it's like, hey, should I be getting another one? Or you don't have a dog. And
like you should be really self-aware and really evaluate your personal kind of situation and whether you are ready or not to get a dog and how will that impact your mental health, and not just your mental health, but also, you know, your general living situation and your life, because this dog is not just for Christmas, you know, it's for, you know, life. 12 years.
Life.
It's for their life.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So it's like, yeah, there's so many positive things. Like obviously our lives have drastically changed, but for the better. There's been more positives. I mean, this podcast is one of them.
I feel like there's always, you know, going to be like positives and negatives to every single situation. But overall, I can't imagine my life without her.
Yes.
Right? Like it would be so quiet in this house.
Yes, it would be. And that's what you have to think about. So again, you know, we went through all the good things and they're great. They're great, but there are a few reasons you shouldn't get a dog, and that we already went through those in the negative things. So, you know, if you are more worried about the negative things than the positive ones have impact on you, then you know dogs aren't for you. But if you're like, man, yeah, I could really use that. I
Maybe
guess.
Cats are better.
That's true. I mean, this is a show
are
about
less
dogs. So,
yeah.
If you want a cat, and we can't help you there, we don't really know.
You are allergic. So.
Yeah. So there's a prime example that would destroy my mental health, because I would be constantly sick and miserable and sneezing, and like my physical health as well. But just the toll it has, you know, if you're sick all the time, you're not mentally well. Like it's just you're so unhappy. And that's, we didn't even mention allergies, but I guess that's a common sense kind of thing. So yeah, dogs obviously have tons of positive things, and that's great to see, like, you know, that dogs can help your life so much, but there are those few things that they can
live longer, they make you feel loved, they give you a sense of purpose. So these are like the big three, I'd say. And then the big three that are negative is the financial aspect and just how much work and time they take.
Yeah, pretty much just those two. I remember name three, that right there.
Work and time. Yeah, like effort.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for today's show.
Yeah. So
Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah. If there's anything that you might have thought we missed, please let us know. You know, you can leave a comment below on the YouTube video. If there's anything you want us to explore more, we will be diving deeper into this, probably in a future episode, and probably even about different aspects, hopefully finding a qualified expert as well on this topic. And I just want to quickly add and a reminder that we do have a giveaway going right now. So it's for our little dog parent bundle, which is a t-shirt, a coffee mug, and this cute little balloon dog keychain. So the the giveaway is going till the end of January 2024. So if you're listening to this after that, well, if it's closed, so it's too late. But we always have giveaways going on, so look out for a future one. To enter it, you just go online to bit.ly/woofy, which is bit.ly/woofy, which is WOOFI. There you can enter the giveaway. The draw will be on February 1st, 2024. So good luck to everyone that enters, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye for now.